Sophia is 1 day old.
No, mi amor. ¿Qué pasó, mi niña guapa? Mira cómo te ríes. Mi niña.
These are her new parents who have just flown in from Spain. They've asked us not to show their faces.
¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó, mi vida?
Next door is Sophia's surrogate mother.
Hola, ¿puedo pasar? Hola. Hola, encantada.
Diana's 23 years old. She's recovering from a cesarean.
¿Cómo te encuentras?
Bien.
¿Sí? ¿Tienes dolor o...?
No, fue lo normal, poquito.
Diana signed up with a surrogacy agency a year ago. She is part of a new boom for surrogates in Mexico. Diana was implanted with an embryo provided by Sophia's Spanish parents.
Traemos a Sofía.
This is the last time Diana and Sophia will see each other.
Yo también.
Sí, fue un momento emocional, ¿no? De ver a Sofía con su nueva mamá.
Porque tanto ellos que deseaban tener un hijo. Y pues eso es lo que yo quería, hacerle realidad su sueño. Pues ya se logró, gracias a Dios.
Surrogacy has become big business. Globally, the industry is estimated to be worth $2 billion a year. Parents who need the help of a surrogate mother are attracted to Mexico because it's cheaper. A successful surrogacy costs around $50,000 US, half the price of the United States.
¿Y qué quieres hacer con el dinero?
Pues el pito ese de taco de guisado, que no se me quita la idea.
Ajá. ¿Y te va a ayudar a criar a tu hijo también?
Sí, pues.
Mexican law says surrogate mothers can't be paid directly, but there are ways around this. Diana has been paid $10,000 through a charitable foundation. It would take her 4 years to earn this as a maid. For the next few weeks, Diana will stay at home recovering. Next morning, I meet up with Carlos Rosillo. He runs the surrogacy agency that's brokered the birth of baby Sofía.
Y el boom ha sido de hace 3 años cuando México empieza a surgir como un lugar que es como un lugar que es un paraíso para el turismo reproductivo.
Carlos goes with baby Sophia's new father to register her birth. If the paperwork is correct, Sophia's Spanish parents will have their names on her birth certificate.
For the new parents, the legal proceedings is a really fraught process because if they get any tiny detail wrong on any of their papers, they could get stuck here for months and they won't be able to go home with their new baby. So I think the sooner I find... ¿Ya?
Sí.
¿Todo listo?
Lo tenemos.
Ah.
Es un sello en donde dice que está todos los requisitos que ellos piden y ahí venir en 10 días a recoger el oficio. Sí, es así.
Without all the legal documents, babies can be left in limbo.
Lo que se intenta es proteger el bien superior del niño, que él tiene derecho a reconocer que tenga una identidad, una nacionalidad y que una vez que se termine todo este proceso, él se vaya a vivir con sus papás a su país de origen.
Later, I head to a fertility clinic that Carlos's agency employs. Tabasco is one of only 2 states in Mexico where surrogacy is legal.
This is one of 3 clinics in the city where surrogate mothers come to get the IVF treatment that they're hoping will get them pregnant.
Some of Carlos's surrogates are awaiting implantation with embryos from sperm and eggs, provided or bought by prospective parents. His agency has seen a 5-fold increase in business this year. They're a big client at the IVF clinic.
Clearly at this fertility clinic, they're super proud of all the babies they've brought into the world. A lot of them have a doctor, and he's got this big grin on his face as he's holding all these babies, one, twins, and there's a lot of triplets as well.
This is the second time Dominga will be implanted. The first embryo didn't take.
¿Y ya sabes quiénes van a ser los padres del bebé que vas a llevar?
Son de España, son una pareja gay. Ellos son los papás.
¿Qué te parece esto?
Son seres humanos y tienen el mismo derecho que cualquier persona.
The surrogates look full of hope. They say they're helping other people and earning a large sum of money. But there is also a dark side to surrogacy. In 2014, Planet Hospital, an American surrogacy agency operating in Mexico, closed suddenly. Prospective parents claim they lost large sums, and the FBI is investigating. Its owner denies wrongdoing. And now I'm hearing of surrogate mothers unhappy with another agency with US links, Surrogacy Beyond Borders. To investigate more, I travel to the city of Cancun. Michelle Velarde was the coordinator and representative in Mexico of Surrogacy Beyond Borders for a year and a half.
¿Qué estamos comprando?
Es un vitamínico, es ácido fólico para el embarazo.
Michelle still takes care of surrogates, but she doesn't work for Surrogacy Beyond Borders anymore. Several weeks ago, she fell out with the agency's American director, who's based in California.
Bueno, lo dejé porque ya tenían muchos problemas la compañía. La compañía ya estaba metido en muchos problemas.
Michelle managed the houses where the agency's surrogate mothers lived. She claims vital contracts weren't signed, putting the futures of surrogate mothers, prospective parents, and babies at risk. She says there were even shortages of food.
Me mandaba el suficiente dinero o las suficientes cuestiones que yo necesitaba para tener una casa bien. Cuando yo les pedía dinero para comida, tardaban hasta una semana. Había 2 bolsas de frijoles, 2 bolsas de arroz para 20 y tantas gentes, contando adultos y niños. No era justo.
Surrogacy Beyond Borders deny this. They claim Michelle was embezzling the money for food, an allegation she disputes. I want to investigate more, so I return to Tabasco. Michelle has given me the names of several pregnant surrogate mothers based here.
I've arranged to meet Diana. She's a mother who's living in the surrogate's house owned by Surrogacy Beyond Borders, and she didn't want to meet me there. So I think I'm supposed to be meeting her here.
Diana has been living in Surrogacy Beyond Borders houses during her pregnancy.
Al principio yo sí me sentía muy segura con la agencia, hasta que cambiaron las cosas. Cambiaron de un momento a otro, así sin previo aviso. Un día ya no mandaron dinero para la comida. Inclusive ayer se terminó la comida en la casa y yo hablé directamente con la dueña de la agencia y yo le estaba diciendo que yo me quedo con hambre.
Diana is 6 months pregnant. Nutrition is critical for the baby's health, and the agency charges her prospective parents for her food.
Señor, ¿me da una pizza, por favor? Sí.
She says she's become a surrogate because she desperately needs the money.
Yo vine aquí buscando una mejor vida, darle una mejor vida a mi hijo. Es un sacrificio para mí, llevar un hijo que no es mío y pasar todas esas cosas. Nunca habíamos estado comiendo tan mal como ahorita y me siento muy decepcionada.
I'm just so sad to hear what Diana's telling me. She's worried about her health, she's worried about her son's health, and she's worried about the baby she's carrying for somebody else.
Surrogacy Beyond Borders tell us they've never tried to cut costs, and it's never been their intention to underprovide. They acknowledge that Diana has raised complaints about food and say there's now an extra delivery each week. Later, I arranged to meet Yuri, another surrogate living in a Surrogacy Beyond Borders house.
Pero yo no tengo contrato. Hasta donde yo sé, debes de tener un contrato notariado en donde tú estás rentando tu vientre y estás de acuerdo y el IP y los dos firman, ¿no?
¿Y por qué no tienes un contrato?
Realmente no sé.
Pero
sé.
tú te dejaste implantar sin tener un contrato.
Por la necesidad del dinero.
I'm shocked to hear that Yuri, who is 3 months pregnant, still doesn't have a contract signed in front of a notary with her prospective parents. This means the parenthood of the baby may be legally unclear. When Yuri contacted the agency after our interview, they told her they needed the birth certificate of her own son before signing the contract.
Pero tú eres una mujer inteligente, educada. ¿No estás pidiendo tu contrato?
Ya lo pedí y me dijeron ellos que yo no me preocupara por eso. Entonces yo precisamente quiero hablar con mi IP porque él no sabe ni quién soy, o sea, ¿cómo puede confiar él en que yo le voy a dar el bebé? Claro. Obviamente sí se lo voy a dar, pero o sea, ¿cómo puedes tú confiar en alguien?
¿Te arrepientes de haberte metido en todo esto?
Sinceramente sí, con la agencia sí, con esta agencia sí, porque son americanos y ellos no saben por qué realmente uno hace esto. Pero como no tengo ni abogado, el abogado pues es de ellos, ¿a dónde me quejo? ¿A dónde voy?
I'm heading north to a city called Aguascalientes to meet another Surrogacy Beyond Borders surrogate. I'm told she has a disturbing story to share.
Hola Alejandra.
Hola, hola.
¿Qué tal, Kiki?
Bien,
Encantada.
gracias.
Gracias.
Pasa.
Hola.
¿Pasar con mis niños?
Hola, ¿qué tal? Este es tu...
Pues
lo tienes
ya.
un poco escondidito.
Sí,
Tu
está
barriga.
un poco, pero mira, ya iba.
Ya tienes tu barriga.
Ya 6 meses ya me pesó.
Alejandra is a single mother raising 4 boys with no help from her family.
¿Y cómo se lo contaste de que ibas a ser una madre sustituta? ¿Cómo se lo contaste a los niños?
Pues los junté a todos y les dije que iba a rentar mi vientre.
¿Sí?
Sí, de verdad, felicidades a otros padres y se ganan también dinero.
She tells me that the prospective parent is a single man from the United States. But she says she wasn't given the full facts before she was implanted.
Es que hay muchas dudas que aclarar.
¿Cuáles son? Cuéntame más dudas.
Pues más, aparte de lo de que el bebé, o sea, por parte del papá estaba contagiado de VIH.
¿Qué?
Que el papá, o sea, el contratante estaba contagiado de VIH y yo no lo sabía.
Entonces el padre, el contratante, tiene el virus de VIH.
Sí. Y a mí no.
¿Y eso tú lo sabías?
No. Hace apenas como 3 semanas.
When she confronted them, Surrogacy Beyond Borders told Alejandra the sperm had been scrubbed clean of HIV. The World Health Organization says this procedure can greatly reduce the risk of infection, but cannot completely exclude it. Alejandra says if she had known the prospective father was HIV positive, she wouldn't have given consent. She only found out when another surrogate told her.
O sea que a ti nunca te lo dijeron,
No,
tú lo
no.
oyes por vía de otra
Ajá,
persona.
Sí.
¿Y tú qué sentiste en ese momento?
Pues en ese momento sentí mucho, o sea, mucho coraje y como miedo. Porque dije, ¿y si me llevo a contagiar? ¿Y por qué no me lo dijeron? Y es que no me dijeron nada. Yo en el momento que yo firmé mi contrato, ahí no decía nada.
Later, Alejandra takes her sons to the local park. Before leaving, she shows me correspondence with Surrogacy Beyond Borders, indicating that she felt she hadn't been told about the HIV status of the father before implantation.
¿Tú crees que es posible de tener una industria de la maternidad subrogada en México y que sea ético?
Pues yo pienso que ya no está bien, porque de todos modos, sea como sea, de alguna manera te van a estar engañando de alguna forma o de otra. Ellos están allá y yo acá. Y les es más fácil a ellos hacer ese tipo de cosas.
When I first got to Mexico, I thought about surrogacy in terms of a meeting of two needs. Parents in the north desperate to have children, and women here in Mexico who need a way to make their lives better. But what I'm finding out, this is the wild west of surrogacy.
It's time to talk directly to Surrogacy Beyond Borders. So I Skype their American director based in California, Lily Frost.
Hi, Kiki.
Hello, Lily.
We begin by talking about Yuri.
She's now 4 months pregnant, and yet she doesn't have a contract with her prospective parent. Is that correct?
She does have a contract. The contract has not been signed in front of a notary. We attempted on numerous occasions to get this signed with her.
But she was still transferred an embryo without having signed a contract then.
I hear what you're saying. I would like you to find another agency who has them signed in front of a notary before the embryo transfer takes place, then we can have the discussion again.
Oh, I have. I've spoken to other agencies, and they say they do it before the embryo is transferred.
I'm certain that they do. In practice, that's not actually what happens.
And what happens if the prospective parents decide they don't want this baby? They haven't signed a legal notarized document.
You know, honestly, it wouldn't matter if they did or not. I mean, if someone doesn't come to pick up the baby, they don't come to pick up the baby.
If I can move on to my next question then. Did you inform and seek the consent of Alejandra Mendiola before implanting the embryo from an HIV-positive father?
We informed Michelle via WhatsApp. We were told that it was fine. Alejandra then came to us later and said, you know, I'm not comfortable with this. I was never told this.
Michelle is the former representative for Surrogacy Beyond Borders who we met earlier. She claims she was never told about the HIV status of the father.
But you don't have any evidence that you asked Michelle?
No, I don't. No. But it was done via WhatsApp, and frankly, I've gone through 3 months since then.
Even if Michelle was informed, surely best practice for a situation like this is to have secured a document signed by Alejandra, witnessed and notarized before she became pregnant.
Do I regret that we did not get her to sign something and have Michelle send it directly to us and re-verify before we did the transfer? Absolutely.
She's very angry about what happened to her, and now she feels like she can't trust you. Do you understand why she feels like this?
I do. I don't know what to say further about that. I mean, there's a zero-risk implantation. I get she's angry. I mean, I would be angry as well.
How is an intended parent in any way supposed to have confidence in your agency?
You know, I mean, yes, there are some tough things we've dealt with. It has not been a pleasant 2 years, to say the least. But through that 2 years, we've learned a great deal. We've gotten systems in place that we're quite happy with, although I guarantee you something else will come up at some point that we haven't dealt with before, and we'll have to figure out how to deal with it again.
The surrogacy industry in Mexico seems to come with many dangers and pitfalls. But in every case, surrogacy is a process that can come at a great cost and at great risk, especially for surrogate mothers in developing countries. Evelyn was a surrogate for an American couple. She lost the baby she was carrying 6 months into her pregnancy.
Yo le hablaba y pues yo quería que estuviera bien, pero ya no. Y cuando ya lo sacaron, me lo pusieron a un lado y le dije que lo sentía mucho. Y le di una bendición, porque aunque yo no era su madre genéticamente, pues yo era su mamá para él, ¿no? Era como su mundo, ¿no? Y pues ya se movía y todo esto.
She says she's been left devastated by the experience. She's physically unable to work and still grieving.
Cuando empezaste todo este proceso, ¿qué pensabas que ibas a poder hacer y ahora cuál ha sido la realidad?
Yo quería tal vez dar un pequeño enganche para un departamento para mis hijos. Eso pensaba. ¿Y cómo terminé? Pues en ceros, sin trabajo, sin salud, y pues con una tristeza tremenda también. Que somos personas, ¿no? No nada más un objeto que les va a ayudar, ¿no? a entregar un bebé.
Se sienta y más cómodo en sus piernas, no se cansaría usted mucho.
Baby Sofia is preparing for her new life in Spain. Despite the dangers, surrogacy can bring great happiness to childless parents. But as international demand for surrogacy dramatically expands, to have more success stories like Sofia's, the need for careful policing and regulation in Mexico is increasingly urgent.
We're meant to have 1 million new homes in Britain by 2020, but are they rushing it? Dispatches investigates Monday at 8 Britain's nightmare new homes.